Well, 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 your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers aren't done just yet. Beating the Cowboys in overtime at Lambeau was brilliant. Can they do it again in just a few days' time when they host the Titans? We're going to talk about that with you next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Welcome to an actual victory edition of the Packers Fan Podcast. I'm Scott Clark with the Gaming Outsider, and it felt great to finally snap that losing streak of 5 games, especially against the Packers' former head coach Mike McCarthy. But at the same time, it was really sweet to see Rodgers and the coach that took him to the Super Bowl embrace on Lambeau Field. I almost teared up. I'm man enough to admit it.
And I almost teared up at the end of the game when we won. I'm Wayne Henderson from MediaVoiceovers.com, and that overtime win was amazing to watch from start to finish. A lavish thing of beauty. So, on this 263rd edition of your Packers Fan Podcast, the show by and for fans of your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers, Scott and I going to recap what we loved, maybe something we didn't from the huge win over the Cowboys, and preview this Thursday night's Titans at Packers game, including Scott's keys to victory. And if you're wondering what it'll take to win, Scott has some ideas.
We also love your listener feedback, and we've got some really good ones to share. And also, Wayne is going to take a peek at the Packers' current playoff possibilities because, of course, he is. But let's go ahead and jump into the highlights from the Packers' overtime win over the Cowboys. First off, the leaders in the Cowboys game, starting off, as always, with Mr. Aaron Rodgers, who threw for 14 out of 20 passes for 224 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Also, which was huge for me, Aaron Jones, 24 carries. 24 carries. We literally ran the ball to one receiver more than we passed the ball, which is great. 138 yards and a touchdown. And lastly, Christian Watson, 4 catches for 107 yards, 3 of those being touchdowns. I'm sure we're going to get into that for sure some more here in a second. And also, no new injuries. I mean, not that there's a whole lot of players left to get injured, but no new injuries this week, so that was pretty great to see. Also, our defense, I was really happy with our defense. I know we gave up 28 points, but the first 2 series had 2 3-and-outs back-to-back, which was awesome to see. And then we had another 3-and-out toward the beginning of the third quarter, forcing the Cowboys to punt from their end zone. Defense was not on the field nearly as much as we have been in the past 5 weeks, so really made me happy. How about you, Wayne?
Absolutely, because see what happens? You run the ball, you succeed, you keep our defense off the field so they're not totally gassed, and they succeed. I think this should be the method to our madness going forward.
You mean that thing I've been saying for the past few weeks?
Yeah, something along those lines. Those 3 touchdowns to Christian Watson, amazing, out of nowhere, really, because we've been kind of dogging him on and off all season. We know he's just been trying to get into the groove as a rookie, had a lot of drops, got injured a few times, but a 58-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter, which tied up the game for a while, then a 31-yard TD pass at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and then the 7-yard TD pass near the middle of the fourth quarter. It was like Christian Watson has arrived.
It was great to see, especially, it felt like redemption for Watson. I think everybody remembers the very first play of the season against the Vikings where he dropped that 75-yarder that was just right on the money. Should have been, an easy lead for us at the beginning of that game and really give us some momentum, and it kind of had the opposite effect. But also just some interesting facts about this, because as you mentioned, Wayne, Christian Watson is a rookie, and he actually not broke some records, but made some pretty good numbers. He is officially the first Packers rookie receiver to have 2 touchdown catches in the same game since 1998. That was Keith Woodside, and he's also the first Packers rookie with 100 receiving yards and 3 touchdown catches in a game since 1978. That was James Lofton. So he is looking a lot better, and I feel like he's gaining some trust from Mr. Rodgers. Those 3D catches he made, those 3 touchdown catches for 96 yards this game, that's not even counting his other catches that weren't for scores. So 96 yards of his yards were just touchdown passes, which was really awesome to see.
Yeah, can I get some more of that, please?
Absolutely. Also, the Packers were definitely utilizing the run game so much more this week. You mentioned that already, Wayne, but I'm honestly not sure if this is more because of Rodgers' injured thumb, which he was clearly bothered by during this game, or if it's just a new play call strategy. I mean, during the first quarter, I saw 2 series with 3 runs in a row for first downs. Just run, first down, run, first down. I would love to see some more consistency like that. You don't always need to surprise the opponent. Sometimes it's okay to just run over them. And I really feel like that needs to be our strategy as we get into the second half of this season.
We'll definitely take it because this is the way to go. That 12-yard touchdown run by Aaron Jones, I think that was inside the 2-minute warning right before the half. It just made me smile when Jones did his spin move while going over the goal line. It kind of reminded me of Eddie Lacy, and other people say it's a Marshawn Lynch thing, but still, that's a way to add a little bit of flair to your touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely. I just again love seeing us relying so much on the run more. And I say that when 3 of our scores came from touchdown passes, but those were all, I mean the short one was, that's fine, but the other ones were both long ones that may not have been intended to be, scoring plays, but hey, I'm sure they'll take them for sure. Also, 2 key interceptions by Rudy Ford. I had to do a double take and say, who is Ford? I feel bad I did not recognize his name, but both of these interceptions took place in the first half. One in the end zone, keeping the Cowboys from scoring, which was awesome. Ford also had a great play with a couple other key tackles. And then prior to this game, Ford only had 1 career interception, and he got twice that in this game alone. So welcome to it, man.
Absolutely. Rudy being the star of our defense this week, we are definitely going to know his name and keep our eye out for good old number 20 going forward.
Absolutely. And I didn't even see, was Stokes injured? I can't remember because I did not see him on the field this week.
I believe he is injured, and that's why there's so many names we don't recognize. But hey, next man up, Ford took care of that.
Absolutely. Also, the last thing I want to say in the positive column, and we finally have a lot of positives this week, is, in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers' attitude overall was just much, much improved. I didn't see him roll his eyes once, even when mistakes were made either by him or by the receivers. I felt like he kept himself calm and composed, even when Watson missed 2 easy passes, and obviously relied on him later on in the game after that. So I just, to me, that is just a spark of hope in his attitude and how important his attitude is in these games. The only time I really saw him get angry was when he got in LaFleur's face. I don't know if you remember seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I want to say it was like a 3rd and short situation, and we passed the ball. And Rodgers looked really upset, and I'm not a good lip reader, but it sounded like he was saying something like, "Why aren't we running the ball?" Really kind of makes me wonder about my former feelings about Rodgers calling those plays. Because I've kind of been blaming AR12 for some of for just kind of just going away from what the coach says and doing what he wants. This one felt like he was upset for the decision that was not in his control. So maybe I was wrong. I don't know.
And that exact discussion is brought up in one of the listener feedback voicemails coming up in just a little bit, because I think we have a lip reader in the listener feedback section that'll help us out a little bit. And
cool.
Mason Crosby, he's had a little bit of struggle this season, but he was money when it was needed the most, kicking that game winner in overtime. And I'm going to give him a chef's kiss because that was straight down the middle. That was about perfect. And it's like, let's just get this. Let's get the win. Let's go home. We made it.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention, keeping them from scoring themselves. In overtime, we stopped the Cowboys from scoring. Going for it on 4th down just seemed like such a risky play to do at that point. I just really was confused by McCarthy's aggressive play calling there. It was ballsy for sure, but it obviously didn't pay out for him. And did you see his reaction on the sideline, throwing his headset down on the ground? I was like, man, there's the anger that I remember.
Exactly. So things don't always work out for Mike McCarthy. But hey, I feel bad for McCarthy getting the loss, but here I am for the Packers, and I'm happy for the victory for us. On the downside of things, Rodgers got sacked on 3rd down in the second quarter which caused a fumble. Dallas recovered on the wrong side of the 50-yard line. And thankfully, this ended up being negated a little bit later by Ford's interception. But it also looked, at least to me, like the Dallas defender was actually trying to pull on AR-12's finger, that aggravated thumb injury.
Oh, I did not see that play. I'm going to have to go back to the tape and look at that one.
Just what it looked like. I was pretty upset for a minute.
Can Rodgers get sacked on any other down but third down? Like he never gets sacked on first or second down. It's always third down, and it drives me crazy. Absolutely crazy. But I know I had some positive things to say about our defense, but they were definitely gassed in the second quarter. They let the Cowboys go 66 yards in 89 seconds in the closing minutes of the first half, which tied the game and definitely blew the wind out of the Packers' sails going into halftime. But thankfully, the Packers did not do what they usually do, come out of halftime worse than they did starting the game. They actually kind of played all 4 quarters this week, which was great to see.
4.5 quarters.
Yeah, 4.5. You're right.
Go big or go home, right? Amari Rodgers fumbling that ball on the punt return near the beginning of the third quarter. I felt like that was going to be the straw that broke the camel's back, but obviously we did hold on to win the game, you know. And I like Amari, but you got to admit the calls for him to be benched or even get cut are getting louder and more frequent.
I read a stat, and I haven't verified it, but I read that, you know, he doesn't play a lot of offense, obviously, because he's special teams, but he has played offense. And so again, I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but I did read it, that he has had 9 catches on offense, like receiving catches on offense, and he's fumbled the ball 8 times. Now, I know that those two things aren't related. It's not like, you know, of those 9 catches, he fumbled 8 of them. Those are completely different sides of the ball. But just, I don't know. That's kind of a staggering number to me, and it just was very stark to me. And we didn't see him returning anything the rest of that game. It went to Mixon.
Yeah.
And he did much better holding onto the ball. So there you have that. Okay, well, it was so nice not having a long list of lowlights that week. We finally had more in the plus column instead of the delta column. So very, very happy for that. But we're going to go on to some listener feedback. Please join in on our upcoming podcast episodes by calling the old Packer Fan Podcast voicemail at 920-3PACK-GO, or you can record your voice and email the recording to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com. The quality is actually much, much better if you do that. Get that feedback in after Thursday's Packers and Titans game, and please be sure to include your guess for the final score of the upcoming Sunday night Packers at Eagles game. Deadline for your calls is 9 p.m. Eastern Sunday night. The sooner, the better, though. Makes it a lot easier on Mr. Henderson over here.
Well, especially with the game being on Thursday night, really not much of an excuse to not get the voice messages into me by Friday night, maybe Saturday afternoon at the latest. But
yeah, absolutely.
At 9 p.m. on Sunday, the prep is pretty much locked up. But let's go and find out what the listeners have to say, because I pre-listened to most of these, and there's some good stuff coming your way.
All right, it's your Hoosier Cheesehead. Sorry, I can't even joke about saying that. I'm not no Hoosier. I was born with a cheesehead in my dome piece. Woo! What a victory Monday! Woo! Oh my gosh, now I know what it feels like to be a Bears fan and actually win a game. Woo! Oh my gosh. I was brought to tears last night, tears of joy, jumping up and down. I know I probably caused my animals some fits. They didn't know what was going on. Oh, it's good to be a Packer fan today, I tell you what. Oh, well, you know I love my statistics. Best one out there that I saw, the Dallas Cowboys, with their 1-star rating, have never lost a game in their entire franchise history going into the fourth quarter with a 14-point lead. That's 195-0. Well, you know what? Now they're 195-1, baby. Woo! Go, Pack, go! Oh, it looked like Dallas was playing a lot like we did last week versus the Lions. They basically beat us in all the categories except for rushing, except for the most important one, of course, which is the score when the clock hit zeros. That's all I care about, that we won. Rodgers looked really good. He only had to pass the ball 20 times. And the passes that he did have did not look like the ones he had in previous weeks. They were on point. They were pretty much right on target. And Watson. Christian stinking Watson. 3 out of 4 of his catches were touchdowns, and one included a backflip. That was awesome to see, to have him come out. I still don't know about him. He still seems, you got to look at his history. I know, I hope he doesn't get hurt, because he's looking darn good. One of the other best things about this game is I think LaFleur may have listened to the podcast and heard Scott's keys to victory. 39 rush attempts at 5.3 yards an attempt versus 20 pass attempts at 16 yards per attempt. That was phenomenal. They ran the ball 60% of the time versus 40% pass attempts. I would have never imagined in my entire life that I'd see a Green Bay Packers team led by Aaron Rodgers run the ball 60% of the time. That's insane. And I also found out, listening to a podcast earlier this morning, LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers are 28-1 when they run the ball at least 40% of the time. Let that sink in. Best stat of the day, no injuries. No injuries that I heard or seen of today, or last night. That was awesome. I think, though, it's time to drop Amari Rodgers. It's like a hot potato. In 2 seasons so far, he has 8 career receptions and 7 fumbles. That is unacceptable. He may be a great man, he may be a great person, but this is simply a business decision. It's time to let him walk. Another good observation, I think, it was Rodgers yelling at LaFleur after that 4th and 1 or that 3rd and 1 play. He looked at LaFleur incredulously and said, it looked like to me, he said, pass on 3rd and 1, run the bleep, bleep, bleep ball. That's what it looked like it showed to me. And that challenges my thoughts on how it has appeared so far that Rodgers has been changing plays at the line of scrimmage and calling his own number. Maybe this has been LaFleur primarily calling the plays and Rodgers acquiescing and trusting the plan. That's something to think about moving forward. I also wonder if Mike McCarthy's going to get fined for slamming down his headset. Those things are not cheap, and I've seen other players get fined this year so far. Looking forward, well, I'm going to come back again to that one. The Munich game, how fun was that to see other fans in the stadium for like a half an hour after the game had ended, swinging Sweet Caroline and West Country Roads. That was so fun to watch. That is definitely a destination I want to go to see a football game. I don't even care if it's the Packers, just those fans. Oh my God, that looks so fun to be a part of. Can you imagine being there half an hour after a game and just singing those sing-along songs? That looked just amazing. Now we got to look forward to Thursday night football against Tennessee. I'm thinking we're looking pretty good. Denver held Derrick Henry under 100 yards for the first time in 5 games. And unfortunately, Tennessee also lost 2 cornerbacks and a safety to injury. And I think that could really open up a lot of play-action passes, especially if they commit to the run. If the Packers commit to the run, put Rodgers under center instead of shotgun, and just sling that ball to Watson, sling that ball to Lazard. I still think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to predict a 24-17 win for the Titans. I'm just kidding. 24-17. Packers will win on Thursday night. Go, 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 Pack, go!
Thanks so much for your call, Dan. Channeling Ric Flair as usual. So, so good. So good. So good. Oh, man, you're making me want to go to I didn't actually see the Munich game.
What?
I didn't watch it, man. I had a busy weekend. There was a couple huge game releases this weekend. I spent most of Saturday and a good portion of Sunday when there wasn't a Packers game on playing the old Vidya games.
Okay.
So I did not get to watch that, but I want to go watch the after game stuff that he's talking about. That sounds really cool. I like to think that Coach LaFleur is tuning in, but I'm not going to pat myself on the back too much. That's a crazy stat that he talked about, though. 28-1 when running the ball at least 40% of the time. Hello, 28-1.
The numbers don't lie. Do it.
I just how do you argue that? How do you argue that? And thank you for the lip reading there, man. I tried. I didn't go back and rewind it or anything, so I didn't have any clue what he was actually saying. But I could have swore I saw "run the ball." So I'm glad to hear I was at least somewhat on the same page.
What a game! There were several moments where my jaw literally, it felt like it was on the ground and I could not pick it back up. Christian Watson, especially TDs 1 and 2, especially the first one, I was just like, I felt like I could cry. I was so happy for him and for Aaron and for everyone. And, the Cowboys played really well. They coached really well. Allen, they're talking about where is he, and he made up for everywhere he wasn't or whatever with that catch and freaking power run. Oh my gosh, he's freaking fast. He's huge. That was awesome. It was cool to see Sammy get a catch or two, perhaps. I can't quite remember. Commitment to the run game was solid. That definitely helped. I can't remember what the stats were at the end of the game. I think Aaron didn't have more than 30, maybe 30 and a couple attempts. He did not seem all that comfortable in the beginning. Maybe it took his thumb or whatever, his hand a little bit to kind of loosen up. Good for Christian Watson. That was awesome. The drops were frustrating. He came back from them, powered through. I felt like the guys continued to try and put forth effort the entire game. It was a really, really good four-quarter game from both sides. We need to just kind of, Amari's going to get a lot of hate, but you know what? Hold on to the football. I don't know. I hope we continue to use Keyshawn Nixon. He's good. He's really good. Fun to watch. Mason for sure made up for his miss with the game winner, overtime winner, baby. This will be our momentum shift. I'm calling it. It's cool to see Mike. A lot of respect for him as a coach, and it was nice to see their little reunion. Go Pack, go, baby. Bring on Tennessee. I'll be there. Row 2, baby. I'm bringing my mom to Lambeau for the first time. She's never been. I'm going to try to give her the Green Bay experience in 24 hours. Let's go. Come on. We have a whole half a season to play football and support our guys in back to back. Green and gold, we're ready to go, baby. Go, Pack, go.
Hi, Wayne and Scott. This is Megan again. I will see, hopefully, maybe Dan. I was looking up hotels, and I didn't realize New London was so close. So are you going to be at the game? Otherwise, maybe Scott, you want to drive on up? I'm going to be there Thursday. So let's go, Packers. Let's keep the momentum going. Green and gold, we're ready and cold, baby. Go, Pack, go. Let's go.
Awesome. Megan, thank you so much for the calls. First off, I want to tell you to enjoy the Titans game. That sounds fantastic. Row 2. We'll be looking for you on TV. Bundle up. Give us a call from the Lambeau parking lot after the game.
Yeah, I will not be there. Actually, don't hate me, Wayne, and don't hate me, all the listeners, but I will actually not be able to watch this game live on Thursday because way back in the summer, I bought tickets to a concert for Thursday night. So I will be in Chicago seeing a band, and I'm going to have to rewatch the game sometime on Friday when I get home.
Or Thursday night when you get home.
Yeah, Thursday night won't be getting home till like 11 o'clock. I'm not going to watch a 3-hour Packer game
concert
before I go.
On a Thursday night? Yeah, see,
So,
during football season, Sunday nights, Monday nights, and Thursday nights, those got to be left open for potential football.
Well, yeah, but during the summer, I'm not thinking about about Sundays, Thursdays, and Monday.
I am.
He knows the rule. If they lose, it's his fault.
Exactly. I agree 100%, Stephanie.
Yeah, my lovely wife just decided to stop in and call me out.
A special co-host for this episode there, but I know, a couple of years ago at the height of COVID when we were having games on Tuesdays and on Wednesdays and maybe even on Fridays, you could, be let loose on that kind of thing, but there weren't any concerts then either. But anyway, back to Megan. Her jaw fell on the floor with all those Watson touchdowns. And Lazard, that was a good point. He did seem to be really flying under the radar most of that game. And then near the end, just saving our bacon and setting things up for us.
Row 2, I'm definitely jealous. That's awesome, Megan. You have to send some pictures and post them in the group for us so we can see them. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so we can see where you're at, end zone, the corner, what yard line, something like that, what side of the field. We'll keep an eye out for you. I think if you yell loud enough, Megan, we will recognize your voice on television.
Probably, yeah.
Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! Let's go, baby! Let's go! Aaron Rodgers, you old son of a bitch, you still got something left in your arm, excuse my language. Aaron Jones, tremendous fantasy points, even though he still got crushed today. I don't care. This is what I was talking about all season. The losses will hurt, but the victories will be also utterly sweet. The defense, which has been consistent all year, they held up. We beat a 6-2 team. We may not make the playoffs, but I don't care. I won $20 against my coworker. This is the moment I waited for all year. I love the Packers. But thank God, Matt LaFleur, you stuck with the run. Even when it felt like a disappointment at times, you stuck with the run. Thank you. The great team win. Great recovery. We didn't get down on ourselves. Hey, maybe we can run the table. I very much doubt it. But you never know. This is what I'm talking about. One game at a time. You just got to beat them. It doesn't matter what their record is. It doesn't matter who they have over there. We still got Rodgers. We still got LaFleur. We still got Jones. We still got Dillon. We still got a defense who I can't name. Christian Woods, you are a godsend. Way to play. Way to compete. You had a hell of a game today. Love you guys. I'm losing my voice. I can't believe it. We won it overtime. Let's go. Again, LA, you know who it is. Sorry, my voice. Go, Pack, go! Please go, go! Love you guys!
Oh, thank you, Andre. You just made my week. What a fantastic voicemail, dude. Your voice sounds shot. He is amped up and losing his voice. Absolutely love the energy, man, and love the enthusiasm and the optimism. You and Wayne definitely share in that optimistic view for sure. Victory definitely was sweet. Love that you won some money on the side again for the game. Run the table, man. You never know. Any given Sunday, or in this case, any given Thursday. So I'm keeping the faith. That's what the guys in my my Sunday text group say all the time. We're keeping the faith.
We have to
do that.
We absolutely have to. Andre, again, thank you for the call, and great point about the defense. They played great. I don't know who they are, but yeah. I was like, who's number 20? Hey, you got another interception. Thank you, whoever. Ford, we know your name now. We definitely do. Looking forward to hearing from you again next week after we hopefully beat the Titans and begin the running of the table. You never know.
Hey, Wayne and Scott. This is Rick from Wisconsin calling. I just got done watching that Packer game. I was actually impressed with, right at the beginning, the first couple drives, how much they were running the ball. I think if they keep running it more, they can keep winning. This was definitely a much better played game. Even when they were tied and it was in doubt if they would win, I thought even if they lost, they had played so much better than what they've done for the last month. So I looked at the standings and where the other teams are, and it looks like they're in good contention for still a wild card spot if they can go on a run and continue to win. So for all you Packer fans, go Pack, go. Have a good night.
Rick, thank you so much for your call, giving us a call at +1 920 3-PACK-GO. Much better game played all around. I agree 100%. And Rick mentioning the possibility of playoffs. Scott?
Playoffs? I can't not do it. I just can't. Playoffs.
People expect it. And we are here to oblige. And although I'm not going to go into scenarios just yet, but a little later in the show, I'm going to touch on a few things in relation to, you heard it, playoffs.
Hey, Scott and Wayne. This is Garrett from Southern Illinois. Finally getting to watch a game from home after being gone 3 different weekends in a row. It was a pleasant surprise to see how the game turned out. I'm excited to see how Watson got to have a breakout game. I'm even more excited to see Rudy have himself a breakout game of getting 2 interceptions that really turned the momentum their way for a while. I'm just hoping more guys will start stepping up and seeing what they can do. I'm impressed with some of the effort that happened. There's still a lot of things that need to be cleaned up. I think that maybe this will hopefully switch some mindsets of how things have been viewed in the last few weeks on the team, and maybe these guys will think a little more positively in the right direction when it comes to how they approach the next game Thursday night against the Titans. So anything can happen. I'm just hoping to see them continue in this trajectory. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go indeed. Garrett, thank you so much for your call. Yeah, I didn't even make the Rudy connection until that very moment when you did the chant there. Man, I want to go back and rewatch that movie now. It's been way too long. Yeah, I like the idea of more players stepping up as well, and just like the overall mindset of the team being improved. I think this is a much needed win, not just for the stats and not for the standings, but for the morale of the team moving forward. I kind of felt that way last week was a must win, but Wayne's going to tell us, I guess, about the potential for playoff standings halfway through the season. So I'll just have to wait with bated breath to see what he has to say about that.
We are a bit past halfway in this particular season, but
yeah.
Do you think the fact not only that we won, that helps the mindset, but also just throughout the whole game, the mindset did seem better? Do you think a lot of that is because after losing to the Lions, it truly was like hitting rock bottom?
Possibly. I mean, I kind of felt that way about New York. I mean,
well, yeah, and the Commanders.
Yeah, like those should have been should have been wins for us at that point. And I'm still baffled that we lost not just 1 or 2, but we lost 5 games in a row. Finally, with the Lions, I think it was just all leading up to a mindset change, which was much needed. Which is we've been talking about for weeks. So somebody's finally listening to us.
Love it, Garrett. Thank you very much, and we will keep our eyes out on Rudy.
Hey, Wayne and Scott, this is Art from Texas. Sorry I called in kind of late. Hopefully I made the cut. But I was in training all weekend, and right now we're actually on our lunch break, believe it or not. Just a couple of quick things. I was ecstatic last night, celebrated all night with my buddies and family, especially when you live in Texas surrounded by Cowboy fans at work. Awesome. Christian Watson, I don't even need to say it. Awesome. He started off a little slow, but I think that he's gained some confidence, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with here on out, hopefully. The defense stepped up when they had to. Only thing is, I did see the offense. They had another like two third and ones, and they went for it deep again on both third and ones. Luckily, one of them, Watson scored. But had they not converted on both of them, I don't know why they keep going long on 3rd and 1s, having Dylan and Aaron Jones. Another thing is, I think Nixon should be the permanent punt returner and kick returner. I think that Amari Rogers should be traded if possible. And Rudy Ford, my goodness, where did he come from? I need to do my research on him. Wow, he did outstanding. Another thing, I don't understand why just before overtime, why the Packers were taking their sweet time. They still had like almost 2 minutes to go down and score a field goal, and it ended in regulation. I don't know why they were taking their time. Anyways, one last point is, I know Mason Crosby won us the game, and I know he's won us so many. I love that guy for years and years and years and years, but I think it might be time to start looking for a kicker. I mean, that may be wrong. You know, it might be unpopular for me to say that, but I don't know. But all in all, outstanding team victory. Hopefully, this is a turning point, and hopefully we can win enough games down the stretch to at least get a wild card or something, because I know it could be really special if the team starts coming together, hopefully down the stretch. Guys, thanks for the podcast. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go indeed. Art calling in from Texas, surrounded by Cowboys fans at work. Oh, can you imagine? Of course, you're surrounded by Bears fans.
Bear country. Yeah.
At my work, I'm surrounded by a Rams fan. There's a Chargers fan. There's a Notre Dame fan. And then we've got there's a Cowboys fan. And then there's a Giants fan. I'm surrounded by the NFL, the United Nations of the NFL. But Art, so good to hear from you. And
yeah, you made the cut, Art. Hopefully Amari Rogers will not.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, hopefully Mixon could be named our punt and kickoff returner. You know, and since it's past the trade deadline, if we don't cut Rodgers, maybe he could be another one of the backup wide receivers or something, because we still don't have quite enough of those that are healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But how about
maybe he'll hang onto the ball when he's on offense?
Well, I can't imagine trying to hold on to a football on a punt when 11 guys are running at you trying to kill you and get the ball from you.
Oh yeah, I couldn't do it. I'm not knocking the guy, but if somebody can do it better than him, yeah, let's just keep that happening for sure.
And it's possible that we may be nearing the end of Mason's run, which is sad. He is the all-time leading scorer for the Packers, but I did see a blurb in the Packers group posted by somebody that we did bring in a couple of kickers for tryouts, so we'll have to see what happens. So thank you, everybody, for your calls. And I got to tell you, those listener voicemails have me even more excited for this week's game. And I admit it, the thought of it all has me getting hungry yet again. I mean, every day I get hungry. You can help us alleviate the hunger that comes along with prepping for the show. It's easy. You can gift us a virtual bratwurst or two, maybe even a dozen. We do enjoy some good brats. Just head on over to PackersFanPodcast.com/brat. We'll take care of converting the virtual coffees into virtual bratwursts and dine very well.
Great. Now I'm also getting hungry just thinking about it. If you'd like to send us a virtual coffee or bratwurst, just go to PackersFanPodcast.com/brat for the details on how you, too, can buy us a brat. Thank you, and go Pack Go.
Now, since you're from the Midwest, are you allowed to have coffee with your bratwursts or just beer?
I've never considered that. That sounds really nasty to me. But you know, if you're going to have something hot to drink while you're enjoying a brat, I'm thinking maybe some hot cider with some whiskey in it or something in a brat, not a coffee. But that's just me.
I like it. I like it. Let's check in on our weekly poll that we post in the Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on Twitter at PackersFanPod. How do you feel about the Packers playing on Thursday? And the basic options were, I hate Thursday games. I love Thursday games. Or, I don't like the Thursday games, but I'm glad the Packers are going to get a couple extra days to prep for the Eagles. What do you think, Scott?
I am with I don't like Thursday games, but I'm thankful for it this week because we get that extra. We're going to need that extra time with the Eagles. Although, our MO with the extra time or coming out of a bye has not been stellar the past few years. So maybe I'm kicking myself in the foot there. But I've just never been a big fan of when we play on Thursdays. Number one, it just seems so late. You got the 2 hours behind me, Wayne. It's a good 11:30 or so by the time games get done around here, especially if it goes into overtime or something like that. So, and plus, I just always feel like the primetime games, there's such a spotlight on us, and we got so many rookies this year that could be their time to shine or fail. So that makes me a little bit nervous. But how about you?
Well, although I am excited to watch our Packers on Thursday this particular week, as a general rule, I kind of hate the Thursday games. They just, I think it's a failed experiment. They need to pull the plug. Thursday night just doesn't feel like NFL game night. It just never sunk in with me. Maybe on Thanksgiving when we have the Thursday morning game in Detroit and the afternoon game in Dallas, and then we'll see. But this particular week, very happy the Packers are getting a couple extra days because that bye week is still about a month away.
It seems so long.
It's insane. But on the other hand, we can point at other teams that have had their bye week over a month ago. Maybe they're going to start getting broken down a bit, and it will be the healthy ones at the end of the year. The votes that came in, 55% of the voters, when you combine Facebook and Twitter, I hate Thursday games. 11% surprisingly love them, and 34% said, I don't really like them, but I'm glad the Packers get those couple extra days.
We also had a comment over on Twitter that says, from Royal X Storm, at Royal X Storm on Twitter, says, can I let you know after the results Thursday? Yeah, that's fine.
Point.
Hopefully the poll will still be up for you then, man. And also on Twitter, at Bitter Quitter says, I despise Thursday night football. It seems to be a growing thing. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like those people who, I don't know, decide to put up Christmas lights and listen to Christmas music on November 1st every year, because we can't just have a Christmas season. We have to have a Christmas quarter. Why can't we just have football on Sunday and Monday nights,
Because there's a lot of brand new Christmas albums that have already come out, and I need to make my way through them and pick out my favorites. And the streets are so dark at night now after the time change. The Christmas lights in the neighborhood, you should see how many houses in my neighborhood already have their lights up. It's not quite as dark and foreboding out at night right now. So it's a win-win.
I'm okay with putting the lights up. Just keep them off until the day after Thanksgiving.
That kind of defeats the purpose of lighting up the street.
No. Well, you don't live in the Midwest, man, where you don't want to be out in sub-zero temperatures putting up Christmas lights when it's super cold. That I give you. Put them up. Just keep them unplugged until Black Friday. Just saying.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Another comment coming in for the poll from Dan Dyler in the Facebook group. Thursday games are all about the money. The players hate it. The product on the field isn't great. This week, though, Dan, just you wait. It doesn't give the players time to recover and actually put in their best effort and best product on the field for us. Imagine being in a heavyweight boxing match, getting hit time and time again, and then having to turn around, practice, get in some film study, do a walkthrough, and have another heavyweight fight just 4 days later.
Yeah.
Exactly. The players aren't big fans. I'm on the plus side. At least the color rush is pretty much gone because that was vomitous. Dictus in the Netherlands commented saying, I'm not a fan of Thursday night football. Dan Dyler made some great points, and I'd add that for us Europe and UK fans, the time difference makes it very tough to stay up or set an alarm to wake up early to watch. I'm still going to try, though.
There you go. Sir Troy Heinrichs also commented and said, I hate any late game I am in the stands for. Just destroys my Monday or Friday if I drive back. And if not, then I am out another $100 to $150 for a hotel. But in this case, I am all about the extra time to prep for the Eagles. He makes a good point. If you go to these games and you live 3.5 hours away from Green Bay like I do, it makes the Thursday night and Sunday night games almost an impossibility for me. Although I did go watch a Vikings-Packers game on a Thursday night once, and I definitely paid the price the next day. Thankfully, I had the day off. But, that's not as easy to do the career that I've chosen.
I see your point. Even when I went to a couple of the Rams games when they first came back to LA that were night games, technically I lived 90 minutes away, but it did take about 3 hours to get home. So.
Yeah. We had some other great posts and comments unrelated to the poll question that were made in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community group, which can be found at packerscommunity.com. First off, Troy Heinritz, Aaron Peterson, and Tyler Seaver all attended the game this past weekend and shared some photos from the game in our group discussion and more, so be sure to check that out.
That looks so fun. And Bill Gardner shared the latest YouTube videos from Tom Grassi. Tom's the guy who makes those extremely clever fan reaction videos of himself wearing a Packers jersey, and then he puts on a jersey of the opposing team, and they go back and forth. And I just think he's very creative. I love watching his stuff.
Yeah. So good stuff. It's definitely entertaining.
We also got a couple of emails. Hey, Wayne and Scott, this is CCR from Green Bay, Wisconsin. What a great game. Christian Watson with 3 touchdowns and Aaron Jones with a touchdown. It was a nail biter. And although we won, there were a few things we got to work on. Make some more defensive stops and protect Aaron Rodgers. Go, Pack, go. Bleed green and gold till dead and cold. Caleb Cathy and Roy Fisher in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Also, another email. I feel like we haven't heard from this guy in quite a while. Jared McChinney-Kerr. He writes in and says, I'll keep it short and sweet. Heart attack Pack game, wildly inconsistent, but when the Pack was on, they were hot. Capitalize on what they did in the fourth quarter and overtime, and maybe they might be able to win out. Loved the feel-good stuff of McCarthy's return to Green Bay for the first time since he was let go from the Pack. Was wonderful seeing him hug players and not forgetting how special Lambeau is. He really has seemed to have gotten better with play calling. I don't think I've seen him be so aggressive the way he was with the Cowboys today, but he still McCarthy'd it up in overtime. Thanks for going for it on 4th down instead of kicking the game-winning field goal, Mike. Love being able to talk about a win. Go, Pack, go. Thank you, Jared, so much for your email. I'm with you. I don't know if you remember the shot of McCarthy walking out onto the field at like 9 o'clock in the morning, even though the game wasn't until 3. And he was sporting that long tan coat that was very reminiscent of Vince Lombardi. I think the newscasters or the team behind the news did like a black and white photo of him in it just to kind of bring back those memories of Lombardi. Obviously, I was not alive during that era, but I've definitely seen the videos and know a lot about Vince Lombardi, so it was really cool to see. As always, your calls, emails, comments, and support are so much a part of the Packers Fan Podcast. Thank you very much to each and every one of you that help contribute to make this show very, very special. Remember to join the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of those conversations at packerscommunity.com.
Did you say packerscommunity.com?
I did.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, whether or not I'm the first to wish you happy holidays, they're here. And if you're going to be buying any gifts for the Packers fans in your life, things like Packers jerseys, caps, shirts, or other merch, we do have an affiliate link through Fanatics for the official merchandise. Using our Fanatics link to buy your officially licensed items will earn us a commission, which will definitely help support the podcast further. Thank you, and Go Pack Go. Notice that some early holiday shopping was already made there using our link today. You'll see the link and an easy QR code at PackersFanPodcast.com on your desktop. And with that, we've got another game in just a couple of days, so I hope you're listening to this podcast early in the week because your 4 and 6 Green Bay Packers are staying at Lambeau for a few days. Thank goodness. To host the 6 and 3 Titans of Tennessee on Thursday, November 17th at 7:15 p.m. Central Time. This will only be the 14th time that we've ever played the Titans. And Scott, that includes going all the way back when the Titans were the Houston Oilers. You combine it all, it's still only 14 times. Tennessee leads the series for now, 7 wins to 6. And it's interesting to note that the Packers game against the team when they were the Houston Oilers is that the road team won every game in that series, which is very odd. You would think it'd be the home team, but oh well. And Coach LaFleur served as the Titans offensive coordinator back in 2018 before joining Green Bay. So a little bit of a family connection there.
I did some research too on the Oilers Titans history a little bit. The Oilers, for those that aren't familiar, moved to Tennessee in '97, but retained the Oilers name for 2 seasons while they were there. And then late in 1998, the Oilers went to Green Bay, but the Packers won 30-22 for their first home win against the Oilers. Tennessee would drop the Oilers name for the Titans the following season. So there you go.
That's a good refresher because I definitely remember the Oilers and remember them moving. I thought they changed their name to the Titans right away. I forgot about keeping the Oilers name for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Kind of crazy.
Interesting. Well, this Thursday night at Lambeau Field is going to be cold. It's forecast to be cloudy, 28 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff. That'd be around -2 Celsius degrees for our friends that use that system. So if you were to go to that game, like Megan suggested, this would be one you'd wear those layers to, right?
Yeah, not as many layers as you'd think. I mean, some people still consider that shorts weather. But dude, I've seen people around here that walk around in shorts in 28 degrees. So we're kind of weird out here in the Midwest. Well, I mean, I would be wearing some layers, but not as many layers as to some of these games that I've been to where it gets just crazy cold.
Well, layers or not, what are the Packers going to have to do to get 2 wins in a row?
All right, strategy number 1 for my keys to a Packers victory over the Titans is very, very simple. Contain Derrick Henry. There's a reason that all the advertisements are calling this matchup Henry versus Rodgers, even though they'll literally never be on the field at the same time. Derrick Henry has averaged just under 1 touchdown per game this season, with an average of around 92 rushing yards per game and an average of 4.6 yards per carry. That is dangerous, especially for a Packers team that is weak against the run. They've allowed the 7th most rushing yards leading up to the Dallas game this week. The Titans will be running the ball a lot, as they do quite well in low-scoring games, which this game is bound to be. If I were coaching the team's practice this week, my focus would be on improving that stat as much as possible. Strategy number 2, keep testing the waters with Watson, but don't forget the run game. Christian Watson redeemed himself this week and then some, and could be on his way to being Rodgers' go-to guy, but I also worry about falling into the Adams trap again and focusing solely on this guy instead of spreading the ball around, which is what he does when the Packers are successful. With that said, I'd like to see more of the running game like we did yesterday. Running the ball works more often than not, and those long sustained drives keep the defense rested longer. Sometimes it's better just to punch it through, even when the defense is expecting it. And number 3, build on momentum. The Packers looked better this week than they have all season. They played all 4 quarters for what feels like the first time in a long time, in probably about a year. They should focus on keeping that momentum going, especially since this game will be at home once again. In the past, I've suggested, as David Newman has, of shaking it off when it came to losses. This time around, I'm encouraging the team to keep that train rolling and use this win as a springboard to keep the season alive by any means possible. And there you have it.
Oh, man, that's got me fired up and ready to go, Pack, go. I think it's going to happen. I've 2 wins in a row. We've turned it around. Excellent keys to victory, as always, Mr. Scott. So good.
Well, thank you, sir. Let's move on to our 2022 season Wager O Fun. Our predictions last week were 24-13. That was my prediction for the Cowboys over the Packers. And Wayne predicted a Packers win 21-20. So the differential really doesn't matter because I picked the Packers to lose. Wayne picked the Packers to win, so he definitely gets the win of this week. In the Packers fan listener section, we had several people that chose the Packers to lose, but we had 3 people that chose the Packers to win. Jay Walters with a score of 24-21, Brett Connor with a score of 24-21 as well, and then Garrett Stritzel with I think that's the same thing that Wayne chose, 21-20. Yep. So very very like scores there. So here are the standings right now. Wayne is destroying me. I can feel my Pokemon fingers warming up as we speak.
I've got 2 words for you. Pika, Pika.
Yeah. Wayne is winning 4-1. But I'm staying positive and hopeful because anything can happen this season,
That's
Wayne.
True.
I can definitely run the table and win this season and make you play Madden with me. But yeah, Wayne's winning 4-1. David Newman and Jay Walters both now have 2 wins, so they are tied for first place. And in second place, we have a 4-way tie between Brett Connor, Alex Bartman, Dan Dyler, and Garrett Stritzel with 1 win. So congratulations to those guys. Still lots of season left, but we got to do our predictions for this week. And I'll kick things off, Wayne, because I think, as I mentioned in my keys to a victory, that this is going to be a lower scoring game. But I think that the Packers are going to pull one out. I'm going to guess Packers 20 and Titans 17.
I love to hear you calling for a Packers victory. And normally I would think this would be another high-scoring game, but since it's just a few days after the huge emotional win over the Cowboys, it's going to be relatively low. Packers 24, Titans 17.
Interesting. So we both said 17 points for the Titans, which means...
We're not the only ones.
Yeah. It's going to come down to whether or not the Packers score under 20 points or over 24 points. Because there's not going to be like a right in the middle there, right? I guess 22 would be 2 away for both of us. So we could tie this week, Wayne.
Or go into overtime.
We could go into overtime. I say we just give me the win. But remember, when you call into our PFP voicemail at 920-3PACK-GO right after the Titans game, please be sure to include your wager of fun final score predictions for the upcoming Packers at Eagles game. And here are the picks for the week from our PFP listeners. First off, Jay Walters says the Packers will win 27-24. Garrett Stritzel says the Packers will win 21-17. Dan Dyler says 24-17 in favor of the Packers. Brett Connor in the UK says Packers 20, Titans 17. And Marty Koopman says Packers 21, Titans 10. So everybody's feeling pretty positive about the Packers after this week, and that is a good feeling for sure.
I'll take it. And a shakeup in the NFC North. Not at the top, though. Vikings are 8-1. You can't even count on the Buffalo Bills to beat the Purple Freaks. Oh, well, I looked at the remaining part of the Vikings schedule, and they're due for several losses. Thank goodness. The Packers are 4-6. Hey, coming in at third place in the NFC North, the Detroit Lions, who somehow beat the Packers and the Bears, are now 3-6. And falling to last, the Bears are 3-7.
Speaking of that Buffalo Vikings game, what a crazy game that was. I actually didn't watch that one live, but I went back and watched some of the highlights. There were one-handed catches on both sides of the ball by Jefferson and Diggs. That was crazy. They were trying to kill the clock in the end zone. This is Buffalo. They were backed up in their own end zone and decided to kill the clock by running a quarterback sneak. How in the world is that a good idea?
It's not.
Can't get over it. And then they can't even pull off a win. Jared Allen threw an interception in the end zone to win the game for the Vikings. Of course, we needed another Vikings win to make things even more difficult for us. That was really, really crummy. So also, I got to give some props, man. I know I mentioned it last week, but Justin Fields continues to impress. He is the first NFL quarterback in history with 140 plus rushing yards in back-to-back games. He's the only quarterback in Super Bowl era with multiple rushing touchdowns of 60 plus yards. He had several other records, but there was just too many. But at the end of the day, as impressive as his stats were and as much fun as he is to watch, they still didn't win against the Lions. Not that we can talk, but right. I don't know what they got to do there. It's just he's looking like another Lamar Jackson or even go back further, a Michael Vick in terms of just being a runner. But he's got to be careful too. He's going to get himself hurt if he keeps doing that as much as he is.
Yeah, see, the Bears with Justin Fields, they know how to get the lead. They just don't know how to hold the lead, which is really the most important part, to paraphrase one of the greatest Seinfeld episodes of all time. Oh, man.
See what you did there.
Hey, I'm here to help, right? This week in the bye weeks for the teams. Oh, my. Let's see. This is week 11 coming up?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Looks like Jacksonville, Miami, Seattle, and Tampa Bay. Tom Brady's getting a break. He's got his bye week, which is weird because the following week, nobody has a bye week. Weird. Yeah. Oh, so taking just a brief overview, a way too early peek at the NFC playoff picture. Right now, Philly is 8-0, but they're kicking off in about 10 minutes. They're the number 1 seed, followed by Minnesota, Seattle, and Tampa Bay. Those would be your division winners. And currently, the wild card spots are taken up by the New York Giants at 7-2, the Dallas Cowboys at 6-3, but guess who would own a tiebreaker if it comes down to it? And the hated San Francisco 49ers, who should have lost to the Chargers but didn't, they are 5-4. So that's where it stands right now. But just on the outside, believe it or not, the Washington Commanders are in 8th place at 4-5. So unfortunately, they would own the tiebreaker over us. That I had a feeling that'd come back to bite us. And then there we are in the 9th spot at 4-6. The rest of our season looks pretty favorable. I could see us getting quite a few more victories. Not so sure about Washington, who's playing Philly tonight. A couple of losses by the Niners and the Cowboys and even the Commanders, we would be right back in it. So it is so close. We do have Atlanta and Arizona hot on our heels, though. But if we just keep winning, we got it. How does it look to you?
Ever the optimist.
No, doesn't
Ever the optimist, Wayne.
But doesn't that look good? We're just a couple of spots, and the teams ahead of us that are just in our way of getting that number 7 seed aren't all that great and could easily falter while we don't falter. And remember, the last time we won the Super Bowl, we were the final wild card slot.
True story, man. True story. I've been seeing lots of positivity in on Twitter, especially with those memes saying like, "Hey, look at this happened, look at that happened, and things worked out okay." So, yeah, I hope you're right, man. I really hope you're right. So we'll just have to kind of see how the rest of the season plays out. All right, moving on. I would like to remind everybody about my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider, which just recorded a new episode and will be released on Thursday. This time around, Chris, Alyssa, and I are talking about games based on any kind of mythology. This week's topic was inspired by a new game that came out this week called God of War Ragnarok, which all three of us played. And you can also hear those impressions on the show, as well as our impressions of the latest Sonic game called Sonic Frontiers, as well as lots of other games. It's going to be a huge episode. If you get a chance, check it out the same place you hear this fine podcast or on our website, thegamingoutsider.com.
MVP and value for value. Thank you for giving back to your Packers Fan Podcast via Patreon. We really appreciate it. Details for becoming a patron and other ways you can give back to the show are at packersfanpodcast.com/give back. And no, you don't necessarily have to put on a tuxedo to be a patron. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Coming in hot at the Jim Ringo level. Thanks and Go Pack goes to Mr. Dan Dyler. And pledging support of the Packers Fan Podcast at the AR12 level. Thank you, and Go Pack Go, Mr. Jay Walters.
We've got some great Brett Favre level supporters as well. Go Pack Go, and much appreciation to Colin Nolan from Ireland, Scott Bors, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast, and Andre in LA. Also, we're much obliged to our Curly Lambeau patrons. Go Pack Go to Hank Davis from the TPE Network, Joe Christensen, and Matt Haig. And again, if you too are interested in supporting the show and maybe even becoming a patron of the PFP, check out the details at packersfanpodcast.com/give back.
And as a reminder, the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. Please follow the Packers Fan Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, we want you to tell a friend because you're going to be seeing some over the holidays that have officially kicked off.
Absolutely. Also, we are on Twitter. Lots of talk about Twitter this week. If you'd like to follow us there, our handle is at PackersFanPod. My personal handle is at GoCastScott, and Wayne's is at Wayne Henderson. And to close out another fun episode of your Packers Fan Podcast, give it up for Patreon supporter Dan Dyler.
All right, this is Dan, a.k.a. Pack Sparrow, and Brett.
Coming in from Tottenham, all the way from London, England. And this is the Go Pack Go.
Go, 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 go.
Go Pack Go!